On my YouTube channel. This is Joe Rod. And my channel's going to look funny because I don't know how to stream things while doing other stream things when he has the room and then I'm just streaming through the OBS. So if it sounds weird or looks weird, my bad. But either way, whatever. We're here. Hey, Joe Rod.
Yeah. We're making it work. We're making it work for the masses, bro.
Yeah. We're making things happen. We're doing something productive, kind of. I may be stretched. I may look weird. It may get wild. Don't even care. What's happening, dude? How you doing?
It's good, man. I'm just pumped about this this draft coming up. We're finally just a couple of weeks away now, rather than like months away. So it's we're on that homeward stretch, man.
Yeah, I'm very envious of your setup. I'm gonna have to do things with lights. I gotta do things to make my room prettier. Should I scrap everything and just like put up my Doc Holliday poster? I don't even know.
Oh, Doc Holliday's a boss, man.
Yeah, I don't even know. How you feeling?
I like your setup, bro. I like it. It's clean. You got the books and everything, and yeah, I like it.
Oh, how are we feeling? You ready to take Patrick Surtain?
Right? I mean, is he gonna? Well, I think is he even gonna be there, Jeff? Like, do you think he'll actually be there? Do you think somebody will take him before us, or what's your thoughts on that?
I'm betting he's there. But like that's the weird thing about the draft, right? We do this every year. Last year when it was time to do the simulations and stuff, when you do, and I do like a million of them. Anytime CeeDee Lamb made it to 17, I just shut down the simulation. And I said, well, let's just start this thing over because that's not going to happen.
That was wild. I didn't even think about that as I was doing mine last year. And I was like, that's just not going to happen. Right. And you kind of find yourself doing that again this year. Like, oh, Richie Grant won't be here in the third or whatever. And then, could that happen? I mean, we've seen stranger things, right, in the draft.
Well, and we have no idea. That's the fun part is when people try to tell me, they're like, that's not realistic. You can't do that. No. I'm like, well, hold on. Why? Because Todd McShay didn't, or Dane Brugler didn't, or so-and-so didn't. Like, we don't know.
Oh, yeah.
The Raiders took Cleveland Ferrell at number 4 overall. We don't know what the hell these teams are going to do. So, like, I'm just basing it off of what I think of the players.
Yeah.
And based on that, I mean, Denver's a wild card, though, because I have no idea what Denver's going to do. They could take a corner. They could bail if somebody wants a quarterback. Like, Denver is a team that I have no clue, and they could screw it up for everybody. They could take a corner. I need to look at their roster because I'm pretty comfortable with most of the top 10, right? Who's going number 1?
Yeah, you said Lawrence for sure.
Zach Who's going
Wilson,
2?
Probably Zach Wilson, number 2.
And 3, I think, is going to be Fields. I think the Mac Jones.
That's what I say. I'm not buying the smoke. I've been saying that. Like, I'm not buying the chum right there. It's like, come on, like Mac Jones. I don't see how that's a good fit. I mean, I guess they could make it, but.
Well, and again, it's just because that's what I think. But either way, quarterback is going 3, so that's 1, 2, 3. 4, Atlanta, I think, is either Kyle Pitts or they're going to trade and somebody's going to come pick a quarterback.
Yeah.
5 is Cincy. I think that's Jamar Chase. Maybe it's Penei Sewell, whatever.
Yeah.
6, I think, is a receiver to Miami. 7 to Detroit, I think, is a receiver. Carolina, I think, is an offensive lineman or a receiver. And then Denver. Denver's the team that could screw it up. But it doesn't matter. That's the other thing. It doesn't matter. Cowboy fans. It doesn't matter. If Surtain is gone, it means Rashawn Slater or Penei Sewell is probably there. Or that enough quarterbacks didn't go, and you can trade down if you want to. And either way, J.C. Horn's going to be there, and that's okay. And I watched Elijah Vera Tucker's 2020 tape last night. Oh, my God, he's good. I can take him too.
Would you take him at 10, Jeff? You feel comfortable taking him at 10?
If I have to. But hold on. Let me pull up my board. I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to pull up my board. Because as long as you're picking a guy that you really think is a rock solid first round player. So to me, I'm okay if I pick Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horn, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Rashawn Slater, Penei Sewell, Elijah Vera Tucker, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. Those are all my real first round grades before I start cheating with 1-2s.
Oh, yeah.
So any of those, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 11 names, and I picked 10th.
Yeah, you're right in that range.
I'm gonna be okay.
Hey, Jeff, let me hit you up on JOK. So, you had him on your list, and I have him as a first-round grade as well. So, for JOK, if the Cowboys were to take him, what is your estimation? What do you think they would do with him to be successful here in Dallas?
I don't know if he would. That's the problem. Because I make my board, and I make my board for in general, like not Cowboy specific.
Mm-hmm.
Like my guess is that Koromoa is going to be somebody's strong safety, and he's going to make a bunch of Pro Bowls. That's my guess. And if that's your plan, then I would say I got no problem taking him at 10. But if you don't have a plan, or I love him at linebacker, but I'm so jaded by watching the Cowboys last year where their defensive tackles are awful and their linebackers are lost and offensive linemen are getting to them free. And I'm like, I can't have a 215-pound linebacker if I don't have the D tackles to keep it stopped up in front of them. But I love the player. So part of me just wants to be like, screw you guys, figure it out.
That's exactly what I feel too. Can we get beefier in the middle? I think that's a big thing here so these linebackers don't get washed out. You know what I mean? So I agree. If you could have him at safety, strong safety, maybe he's somebody that can, fill in or replace like your Keanu Neal role. I have a feeling.
Yeah, and really, I know that everybody loves him, but if JOK is your best player on your board, he can take Donovan Wilson's job.
Yeah,
I like Donovan Wilson. I know Cowboy fans like Donovan Wilson, but Donovan Wilson is not blocking a top 10 pick to me. Like guys like Connor Williams and Donovan Wilson and Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown, and maybe Donovan Wilson maybe he's about to be a really good starting safety.
Yeah,
he's not stopping me from picking a premium player. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree. And then the whole conversation it's the same deal with Kyle Pitts, right? It's like Blake Jarwin, what's he going to be after the injury? Dalton Schultz, that's not stopping from that if that does occur, right?
No, dude. And Pitts is a whole different thing because offensive weapons, that's premium. It's premium, right? JOK isn't necessarily premium, but safety play is important. Linebacker play is important. But with Kyle Pitts, I mean, you're talking offensive weapon. You're talking scoring touchdowns. You're talking getting 15 yards per catch. You're talking about things that are super important in the NFL today. So, no, I mean, there's very few rosters in the NFL that have a guy on it that I'd be like, guys, we can't take Kyle Pitts. Can't do it. No, he's too good. You just got to do it.
Yeah, I just now the people behind us, right? Who, in your estimation, might actually leapfrog us and grab one of the guys that a lot of fans are really thinking is going to come to Dallas? Anybody back there?
Golly. I guess I had to start with which players. Are you talking Surtain? Are you talking corner?
Let's talk about corner. Let's talk about Kyle Pitts. Let's say that these players, they start dropping, right? And some of the teams behind us say, well, okay, these guys are dropping a little bit. Let's make a move up. Let's say it's maybe one of your linemen, Surtain or Pitts. Even Horn, even.
I could be wrong about this, but my gut is nobody's jumping you for a corner. And it's a premier position.
Yeah.
So I'd love to pick it. I got no problem with picking it. But to me, they're not that sort of prospect. I like Surtain and I like Horn, and I think they're going to be good NFL players. But I don't see anybody jumping. Somebody could jump you for Penei Sewell.
Yeah.
That could happen.
Yeah.
Somebody could jump you for Kyle Pitts.
Right.
And, where could that happen? 9, 8, 4. But other than that, I keep coming back to kind of the same thing, which is there's enough players that I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm not, because whatever you're jumping me for, it's just something else that's coming to me. How many quarterbacks going in the top 9? At least 4, right?
Yeah, at least 4. At least 4.
And maybe 5.
Yeah, could be 5.
Maybe 5. Do you have a dream guy? Who's your guy that you want to slide?
For me, it would be Penei Sewell.
Okay.
But I mean, it's like O-line is such a premium position. It's like, would he actually fall that far? No.
The only way is if the offensive weapons are hot, and I think they could be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be, because if you tell me, okay, 5 quarterbacks plus Pitts, Chase, Waddle, Smith, that's 9, and now Sewell's in your lap.
Yeah,
not impossible.
Yeah, not impossible. I think there's like a scenario for every way. Like there's a scenario to get Sewell, Slater, even Pitts. So it's I can't wait for this. This is going to be craziness, I have a feeling.
That's what I like. I like drawing up the scenarios. Like, you tell me, which scenario do you want? You want Sewell or you want Pitts? Who do you want? And we can draw up the scenario.
Let's do Slater.
Oh, Slater, I don't think is hard. I think it's possible. I really do.
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2 we got, right? Well, 1, 2, 3 we got. QB.
Yeah.
Atlanta's Kyle Pitts. Cincinnati is Jamar Chase. Miami is Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good fit there. Detroit.
Waddle?
I think, definitely receiver, because I lost Galladay, right? So it's like Chase, Waddle, whoever's the best remaining wide receiver could be there. Maybe they want to go offensive line there. Maybe they want to be physical. Their head coaches talk a big game about being physical. Maybe they want to go in the trenches there. So, what do you think, Jeff?
For this scenario, let me give them Waddle. Because you give them Waddle. 8, you go Penei Sewell to Carolina. 9, you give Patrick Surtain to Denver. And 10, you take Rashawn Slater.
There you go.
And that's not unrealistic. And now you want Kyle Pitts. Here, I'll give you Kyle Pitts. Quarterbacks go in the top 3. Atlanta trades out of 4 with somebody that comes up to take a quarterback. That's 4 quarterbacks. Jamar Chase goes 5. Devontae Smith goes 6. Jalen Waddle goes 7. Carolina at 8 takes Sewell. Denver at 9. All I got to do is bring somebody up to 4 to take a quarterback, and I can get you Kyle Pitts. I don't know how realistic that is, but that's where my brain is this year. And this year is weird because this is the first year where I don't have a great feel for what a lot of teams are doing. And maybe it's because no combine, no 30 visit lists, none of that stuff. No. But it's so much harder to have a feel for what anybody's going to do. We just kind of pencil in based on need, and a lot of teams aren't going need. They're going to go with whatever they think is the best player.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It's hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of wild cards in here too. Like I said, Denver, Carolina a little bit, Atlanta a little bit. It's it can really shape the draft in a crazy way. I just have a feeling somebody will want to jump in there, and I just don't really know who. Maybe New England, maybe Arizona from 16. I mean, that's a high jump though, right?
Yeah, but like New England could jump just because it's quarterback. Chicago, if they have the ammunition, could jump. Let me ask you this. Is there a player or players that you don't want to see make it to 11 and 12 to New York and Philadelphia?
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't want to see Pitts go there. That's for sure.
That's kind of what I wonder too. With the division right behind you, I'm like, all right, if it falls this way or that way or this way or that, because I see mock drafts where it's like one of them gets Jalen Waddle and one of them gets Devontae Smith, and I'm like, crap, you got to cover those guys. So I'm trying to get them all to go in the top 9. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I'm not so much worried about the Giants. I'm just not really sold on Daniel Jones being, the pass, the thrower of that team. You know what I mean? I think he's got decent weapons, but the quarterback himself, I think, is a little bit of a problem for them.
I do too, and it's weird that they don't seem to think that. they everything that comes out of there is like that he's our guy, and we're convinced, and we're sold on him. And I'm just like, based on what? I don't know.
I think Gettleman's on his last leg. If he screws up this draft, he's probably out of there. And Jason Garrett's there, so their offense is going to be awful, but Saquon's going to get 600 carries. So they're going to run him to the ground.
They're going to attempt to grind it out. Where do you draw up for like the first? You got 4 picks in the top 100. If you came out of those 4 picks and it lined up perfectly for you, what 4 positions are you going?
4 positions would have to be. I want a cornerback out of this for sure because you start a game today, Anthony Brown and these guys. I don't like that at all. So
and you hate the depth.
The depth too. If even Anthony Brown goes down, the depth is you're in big trouble there. You know what I mean? You might have to do an in-season trade to fix that. So cornerback's got to be at the very top, right? You know, depending on how the things shape out. But I want to come out with a linebacker, and I want to come out with an edge, and I think my 4th one would be, you know, a safety. I wouldn't mind getting another safety. So I think those would be my top ones. Now, consolation prize, probably an offensive lineman, and I think you might be able to do that, right, with some of these comp picks in the 3rd and 4th round.
Yeah. And can I throw in defensive tackle?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And how many of those make sense at 10? This is kind of my process of elimination of who are the Cowboys going to pick. Like at 10, offensive lineman makes sense.
Yeah.
If you have Sewell or Slater. Corner makes sense if you have Surtain or Horn. Linebacker?
Yeah, 10 that just seems really rich at 10, right? Like maybe the teens or 20s. I have maybe that you could massage it to be a little bit more, you know, a little bit better, I guess.
And then safety?
Safety, man, it's just the thing about safety and defensive tackle for this team is like, are they going to change the philosophy and invest early, right? Like they just refuse to do it in the first 2 rounds, defensive tackle, safety. So, man, until I see it, it's just like I have a feeling they're going to go a little bit later on those, but you know.
And it's safety. It's weird because I do think one of their first 3 picks is going to be a safety. I do. Only because the signing of DeMonte Kazee, I've said this before on the channel, so guys, if you've heard this before, don't worry about it. He got 10% of the guaranteed money that HaHa Clinton Dix got a year ago. His salary is like $1.2 million. That's literally nothing in the NFL. That's what you give a guy who might not make the team.
Yeah.
And so, like, coming off the Achilles, when they signed him, I was like, okay, you got your free safety. And then I saw the numbers and I went, oh God, they don't know if he's going to make the team. There's a free safety getting picked. There's a free safety getting picked.
I think there just has to be, right, Jeff? I mean, you follow the money, right? And just the need is so big, especially for this Dan Quinn. You need that single high, right? I mean, that's what they say. And I agree. I mean, you need that guy. And Kazee, is he going to start on PUP? Is he going to be able to participate in camp? Like, I question that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, just going off of a standard timeline, right? Achilles, we think what? A year? That's what I immediately think is a year. And
a year to get on the field, but probably 2 to be somewhat normal, right?
And he played 4 games last year.
Yeah.
So you're talking about that Achilles blew in, what would that be, September, October?
Yeah, that's relatively early. I mean, soon. That's recent. That's pretty recent.
Yeah.
Right?
So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Kazee. I'm glad he's on the roster. They needed somebody back there. They weren't going to bring back Xavier Woods, I guess, which that poor guy, he played pretty well for you for 3 years. In the 4th year, he sucked just like everybody else sucked.
Yeah.
But I think it was his comment that got him when he was like, well, you don't play. You can't go 100% for 70 plays. And I was like, yeah, that's being honest. And then I saw the fan base being like, you quitter. You don't try hard. And I was like, oh, that one's going to get him. Okay.
Man, that burnt him so bad because you see Gallimore, a big hulking defensive tackle, making those, across the field runs and chasing down guys. So you're like, man, if he can do it, what's going on here, man?
Let me hit a couple of super chats. My guy Formula, he says, what's up, Captain Trade Down? Sorry, missed the past couple of streams. If you had to, JOK or Parsons at 10. If they trade down, will they trade back up into the first round? JOK or Parsons?
Oh, I go JOK all the way.
I do too, and I feel like we're poisoning the minds of all football fans because I think Parsons is going to go before him.
Yeah,
and he's super talented. Like, I don't want to kill Parsons. He's just kind of young at the position, and I think it shows in his play. He might be a first ballot Hall of Famer that goes to 13 Pro Bowls, but I don't know. I'm just kind of like, yeah, if I picked it 18, 20, okay.
Yeah. How bad does the board have to be wiped before they make a pick like that and then kind of sell the fan base on this is the guy that we wanted? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think coverage is too important in the NFL. And Parsons, again, physical tools, he might turn into an incredible coverage linebacker. He's got the physical tools. I just haven't really seen him do it. And JOK, I've seen him cover slots, play man defense. Like I've seen him, he can cover whatever the hell you want. He can do it. And if they trade down, will they trade back into the first? I hope not. You trade down, now I got 5 top 100 picks. Mm-hmm. So those positions we went through, we can get 5 of them bad boys. And Trent, appreciate the super chat. Trent Taggart, he said, how is Daniel Jeremiah such an idiot and yet so successful? Having Kwity Paye go to the Cowboys in his latest mock.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that, Jeff?
My thoughts are no.
Right. Yeah.
But I also think like the Cowboys, the 2 positions that they really love to draft are corner and edge. And in one sense, that's good. It's smart because it's premier positions. So why wouldn't you invest draft capital? I think it's just such a weird year for edge guys. Such a weird year where you're just, because my other thing in the top 10 is I don't want to miss. I don't want to screw this pick up.
Yeah, you can't. Man, if they miss on that, that's going to hurt.
Yeah. And Paye, like he's got the athleticism, but it's never produced the sack numbers or the pressures that you would think it would. So I think he'll be a good player because I think he's strong and I think he's going to be a good run player and he's a good athlete. It just, if I'm picking a pass rusher in the top 10, I want the whole thing, not potential.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the problem with this draft class with the edge guys. There's not that clear cut Bosa, Myles Garrett, these types of guys. It's kind of like, you almost have to sell people on it. And I don't want to have to be sold on a player like a Kwity Paye or somebody like that.
No, I just want to show you the tape and the stats and be like, that's why we picked him. Because that's him,
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jeff, let me ask you this. So on Kwity Paye, Daniel Jeremiah obviously put him there at 10. Could this be a case where he's hearing whispers and he kind of like, well, I kind of heard this. Let me put him in here. Does this happen? Is this a real thing?
I'm gonna guess no. I think that like mock drafts are fun because I think I use them to draw up all sorts of different scenarios, like we just did. Like, hey, I'm gonna draw you a scenario where you get Rashawn Slater. I can draw you a scenario where you get Kyle Pitts. And for Jeremiah, maybe it was just look. It's real weird when no pass rusher goes in the top 10, and the Cowboys could use one. I mean, you can survive with Tank, Randy. And being backed up by Dorrance and Bradley and I, give or take. Am I missing anybody big? You can live with that. I want more. I want more than that.
Would you feel better about? Okay, so Kwity Paye, I think both of us are not quite high on that at all. But if you're looking like a little bit later, does anybody else kind of just sound like a better fit, a better prospect, maybe like a Boogie Basham or Peyton Turner or Joseph Asai? Like, would you feel better about a player like that?
I like where your head's at. I think a sweet spot for edge is 44, your second pick. I think it's a sweet spot for edge. The only problem is I also think that it's going to be where most people are going to want to pick a safety. So
no.
And that's kind of why I want Captain Trade Down to ride, but it's dangerous because what if Captain Trade Down rides and you're down at 19 or 20 and you lose Slater, Vera Tucker, Sewell, Pitts, Horn, Surtain, and you lose Newsome. And you're like, crap, I lost all the corners, all the offensive linemen. Now what? Am I pulling the trigger on Christian Barmore at 19? But if I get to end up like the Patriots, that's my dream spot, right? Get to 15.
Yeah.
Or I think I'll still get a guy that I really want. Then I have 44 and 46.
Yeah, that would be the dream scenario, right? Like to trade back and have additional weaponry to be more aggressive. And more top 100 picks that's what I want.
But I do like what you're saying with the pass rushers in the second round, because like my pass rushers go Azeez Ojulari, Jalen Phillips, and they'll both go in the first round. Yeah. And then I actually have Boogie Basham and then Kwity Paye, but based on what we see and read from the guys who seem plugged into the NFL, I bet Pay goes before Basham. And then it's a matter of who makes it to 44. And you actually named my 3 guys that I like in the second round.
Yeah.
Boogie Basham at Wake Forest, Joseph Osai at Texas, and Peyton Turner at Houston. That's my 3 guys. And that's the order I have them in. Basham, Osai, Turner. And you could talk me into Turner being above both of them. I mean, I'm a big fan of his. Then it becomes, okay, we are going to make Joe Rod be the decision maker here, okay? We took a corner at 10. All right?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite of Boogie Basham, Joseph Osai, Peyton Turner?
I like Boogie Basham.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basham or Richie Grant?
I'll probably go Grant right there.
Okay. Grant or Alex Leatherwood?
Oh, I'll take Grant. Yeah.
Grant or Alim McNeil?
I still take Grant. Yeah.
Grant or Jabril Cox?
I would probably go with Grant still on that.
So your dream pick at 44 is Richie Grant.
It's a safety, whether it's Grant. I would want Grant, but I think this team would go Merrick. Just my gut instinct. I don't know. What's your take on that, Jeff?
It's my gut instinct too, but I'm also confused by it. I'm gonna be honest because TCU played split safeties.
Mm-hmm.
They played half field, and we're all talking about Dan Quinn like he's this cover 3 guy who wants a real life center fielder, and I'm like, well, Richie Grant was a center fielder,
yeah,
and Merrick wasn't. But it is a game of projection. So I guess if you think that he can do it, because Ardarius Washington played more of their single high than Merrick did.
Right. Yeah,
and
so, a lot of snaps there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but we're talking about Merrick as a free safety, and I guess that's his position. I guess. But I don't know. That's why I get kind of confused on Merrick. That's why he's my 1, 2, 3rd safety behind Ardarius Washington and Richie Grant. Where's Ardarius Washington going to get drafted? Where's my 5'8", 178-pounder going to go? 4th round?
I think probably 4th round's a sweet spot for him, which isn't bad. I mean, if you have 2 4ths in there, so
I would love that.
You could use one on him, right?
I would love that.
I'm just kind of getting myself prepared for the Cowboys pivoting from what Cowboys fans want, right? We want, a lot of us want Pitts. They want, Horn. You want a safety in the second. They'll probably go defensive end, and then they're going to pass. The players might be there, and then they pass for somebody else. I could see that happening.
You think their draft is going to be like Micah Parsons in the 1st, Joe Tryon in the 2nd, and Jalen Twyman in the 3rd? Like, it's just going to be a bunch of guys that we're all like, no. I really do think it's going to be a mix of that, right? We as fans and people that follow and doing this draft coverage, we might hit on one name or 2 names, but typically it's like totally different, right? Yeah. Shout out real quick to my super chats, Blake. Shout out to Blake Hebert. Formula swinging through for a second question. Do you believe the rumors the Cowboys are super interested in Zaven Collins?
Good question.
I buy it. I don't know, because I feel like a lot of these things are contradictions to Dan Quinn. Now, I guess if he's going to have a Leo position where you're kind of talking about a linebacker, but he's also a pass rusher,
no,
I think Zaven Collins makes a lot of sense for that spot. But you can't pick him at 10, and I don't think you can get him at 44.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go in the 1st, I would think.
Yeah, so I guess. I mean, I've heard them linked to Collins. I've heard them linked to Merrig. I'm trying to think who else have I heard them linked to. Tommy Togiai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Normally I get a hold of the top secret 30 visit list and I can kind of sort through it, but
right.
They're picking Surtain. Who are we kidding? They're picking Surtain. And he said thoughts on Jamar Johnson, the Indiana free safety. I like him. He can't tackle. I tackle better than he does, but he can cover.
Yeah.
he can cover.
Yeah.
And he can go get you the ball.
I agree.
He'll do that. The Traveling Man Talk Show. if you did trade back to 15, who would you take with your 2 second-round picks? Well, you go. What are we doing, Joe Rod?
2 second-round picks.
Yep.
Who do we take in the first, though?
Should we assume Surtain? Well, let's do it a couple of ways. First time, you took Surtain. You took a corner.
Okay, we took a corner in the first. So the 2 seconds, I want to come out of this with, oh man, it's crazy. I think I would definitely look at safety, but
we know you got Richie Grant or Merrick. You got one of them. We know.
Yeah. So maybe defensive tackle, right? Tommy T. Is that too early for Tommy T in the second?
I think so, but it's a bad defensive tackle year. So maybe that pushes guys up.
Yeah.
Because like Barmore's going to go in the first, and I don't have him graded in the first. And then the second D tackle off the board is maybe Levi Onwuzurike.
Yeah.
And then it's between Alan McNeil, Togai, Marvin Wilson. Like, God, maybe that is where you'd have to pick him. It seems early for a nose tackle, though.
It does. And then for this team that doesn't even, value that early, it's just like it's a bit of a stretch. But if you do come out with 2 seconds, why not? You know what I mean? So what about Osa Odighizuwa? How do you feel about him?
I like him too, but God, he's so weird because he's like a 280-pound nose tackle.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Like I think he's a better athlete. I love his tape because you're watching a 280-pounder who you can't move. And it's like, and you know what I did when I was watching his tape? I immediately Googled his name because I knew I was going to find out he wrestled. And he was a state champion wrestler. That anytime you have a smaller D tackle that doesn't get moved, he wrestled. he knows how to do leverage.
That's a great take. Yeah, leverage is it's a big part of it.
If we went corner in the first, I'll say in the second, I'll do Richie Grant. I don't love like Baron Browning, the Ohio State linebacker, Jabril Cox, LSU, but I really think I'd go back to either offensive line or edge.
Yeah.
Like Peyton Turner, the Houston edge, and Alex Leatherwood or Liam Eichenberg.
I could go for that. I could definitely go for that.
Okay, now do it if we took it 10, pick either Rashawn Slater or Penei Sewell. We took an offensive lineman.
I think you got to go cornerback then. So Who's there? Are we talking Elijah Molden? Are we talking, Asante Samuel? But then you get into the metrics of the Cowboys. Like 6 foot and above, these guys don't do this. So are they going to get scratched off the list? So I think, cornerback, if you want one of the good ones, they may have to just change the philosophy there, Jeff. I mean, what's your thoughts on that, second-round cornerbacks?
I think, like, my guys who I would want there, like, I would want Kelvin Joseph if I could get him, which all depends on how the NFL feels about him being a rapper and coaches not liking him at either of the schools he's been at, but he's a really good player.
Yeah.
But that's my top 3 second-round guys is Joseph, Samuel, and Molden.
Yeah.
And so that's who I would be hoping for. But I think if you're talking about Cowboys and scheme fit, maybe we need to branch out to Ifeatu Melifonwu at Syracuse, Eric Stokes at Georgia.
Yeah.
What happens with Caleb Farley?
Yeah.
Could he make it to 44? I have no idea because, like, I'm terrified of him. Bad backs don't get better. They don't usually get better.
Oh, I know. And that's the thing about, getting an O lineman in the second round, because do you trust Tyron Smith to play a good chunk of the season anymore? So bad backs are not good business for football.
No, and that's why I think the guys who I think that are tackles that could play guard appeal to me a lot, because if Tyron's healthy, you're like, oh, I got a new left guard. So, like, I think Slater, Sewell, Elijah Vera Tucker, Christian Darrisaw, I think they're gone in the first round.
Yeah.
Does Tevin Jenkins at Oklahoma State go in the first round? Alex Leatherwood, Bama's left tackle, who I think can play guard. Eichenberg, I think, is a tackle. Kazee, I think, is a tackle.
What do you think about Dickerson? You think he's strictly center guard, or would you I don't think
I think he's center guard. I think he's a stud.
Yeah,
I think
guy's a
Landon
mauler, bro.
Dickerson is. I think he's awesome.
I wouldn't mind that guy, man.
Every college season he played ended with a season-ending injury.
That's
every one
that's
of them.
the scary part. Yeah.
Bama just beats people up, man. Bama beats people. You know who I wonder about? Okay, if we went offensive tackle in the first round, I'll say Elijah Molden, I think, could play safety too, if you care about that. But I'm gonna say I'd take Kelvin Joseph in the second if I took an offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would take, I think you got to think about a Lim McNeil at nose tackle, but I already took a tackle. I will go.
What about the Jamin Davis hype train, Jeff? Is he gone in the second? Any interest there?
I'm interested. That's where I graded him. And when I discovered Jamin Davis, I had him like in the middle of the second round. I was like, man, I found a player that not a lot of people are talking about. Now people are like, first round. And I'm like, wait, you can't just take the guy that I thought I discovered and just throw him in the first round, you bunch of jerks. But I think he makes sense in that range. I would love him at 75, and I would be okay in the second round. But the name I would throw out is what happens to Nick Bolton?
There you go. I was about to say that.
5'11", didn't have a great pro day. Like, does that drop a guy that I think has first round tape to 44 or 46? Maybe.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. His tape is first round talent, right? I mean, I have him up there with the guys that are being talked about. So, yeah, I wasn't too surprised by the speed. You know, I kind of expected that to be what it was going to run at. But you know, when you watched him at the pro day, it kind of looked like he wasn't running full speed. Didn't it look kind of weird? Like he didn't look like he was actually just pushing it full speed.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the way he moves. I don't know. But I love him instinctually. I love that he's fearless. I love that I've seen him in coverage. I thought he was a 4.6 guy. So we ran 4.59. I was like, that makes sense. Like he's not a burner, but he runs well. Like that's running well. Jeff Y with the super chat. He says, my dream is 15 JC Horn, 44 Richie Grant, 46 Lim McNeil. That's not a bad dream to have. That's not a bad dream to have at all. Sparrows of War. Great show, guys. Do you guys feel any different about Bolton after his pro day numbers came out? Do you think he'll be there at 44 now? Sparrows was reading my mind or giving me content before I realized we were going to go there. I'd take Nick Bolton at 44 all day, every day. All day, every day.
Yeah.
You got any chats we need to rattle through?
I haven't got any yet. I think everybody's just enjoying the hell out of this content.
Hey. Come on. Do the right thing.
Yeah, let's get some super chats in here, baby.
Do the right thing for Joe Rod. He's trying to add to the collection of pictures behind him. I got Marcus Hughes said, just want to make you feel old, guys, and let you know Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to Ohio State in the fall, and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is going to Clemson. Yeah. This is the first draft where I start to feel like I'm an old guy because of Asante Samuel Jr. and JC Horn. And I was like, oh no, I do remember these guys' dads playing in the NFL. I feel like I've turned into Brian Broaddus because I remember when we were watching Fred Taylor's kid. Was he at Florida too? I don't remember. And Brian was like, oh yeah, timed Fred at, got him at a 4.37. And I was just like, all right, old guy. And then we got old. I got old. Michael Braddock, assuming we get corner at 10, what's an ideal round for us to get a DT, and what type of DT would we get? I want it to be the third round, and I want it to be like Tommy Togiai at Ohio State or Marlon Tuipulotu at USC. I'm looking for the big, and they're not massive guys, but I'm looking for the nose tackles that don't get moved so my linebackers can hopefully be good again. I just wonder if that's a pipe dream because it's such a weak D tackle class and guys are going to fly off the board.
And yeah, that's my gut instinct too. Like they're going to go high, right? So like the simulators, you see some of these names going like really deep. You're like, I just don't see that happening, right?
Oh yeah, like I forget which one it is, but one of them you can take Jamin Davis in the 5th round. I think it's Pro Football Focus where there's nobody picks him, and I'm like, all right, I'm not picking him in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round because that's not going to happen. Let me see.
We got a super chat in the house. Jerry Penna.
Let's go, Jerry.
Because you and Jeff are awesome. Thank you, Jerry.
That's a great question, Jerry.
Appreciate you, brother.
Blake said, how good can Cowboys offense really be with Pitts? Kyle Pitts is amazing.
Let me ask you.
Go ahead,
this, Jeff. Let me ask you this. Let's say that this is like an infinity stone, and Thanos, clicks his fingers. There's no Kyle Pitts in this draft class. Who would be the most coveted player from this? If there was no Kyle Pitts, who's the most coveted player for the Cowboys?
That's a really good question because, it's not an edge guy. It's not a linebacker because the players just aren't there. It might be Surtain. They might be about to pick the guy that they most covet in the entire draft class. They might get him. Yeah. And it won't rev me way up, but I'll go, that makes sense. It's a good pick. Solid pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate the pick at all. It's definitely, like we said, a high need, right? Cornerback, you got to get one here early.
And now me, because I'm selfish and I love offense and I love passing the ball, I'd be like, man, imagine what happens when you run Jalen Waddle out on this team. He's uncoverable. The dude just flies. And you want to add that to your offense where if you want to treat Amari Cooper like the number one and try to double him, you're not going to have safety help for Jalen Waddle. He's my other guy. I love Jalen Waddle. I love it.
Marcus Hughes got super chat here. Do you guys think 44 is too high for Marvin Wilson, Jeff?
I don't think he's going to go that high. It's not too high for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. My QB1 is Justin Fields, not Trevor Lawrence. My linebacker 1 isn't Parsons. It's JOK. My offensive tackle 1 is Rashawn Slater, not Penei Sewell. And my belief on the draft stuff is I'll use other people's things to try to get a read on what might happen, but I'm not going to let it sway my opinion of the individual players.
Oh, yeah.
I think Marvin Wilson is catching a terrible rap for how he played this year when they kind of changed it to a 3-man line. And it was this dude dominated college football at 19 and at 20. And then at 21, suddenly he was kind of playing a different position and he did look a little less explosive. So you got digging to do, but he's potentially a star. So I like Marvin. I have him in the second round. He's my DT number 2 in this draft. I like him, but just gauging off of everybody else, man, he might be in a free fall.
That's kind of what the vibe I'm getting too. It's all of a sudden, is that 2020 tape just really dinging him, or lack thereof. So, but, I do typically like the defensive factory of FSU. I think they put out pretty good pros at the NFL level. So I do think it's possible that he could be something for somebody. Now, will it be the Cowboys? I don't know.
Now they got another defensive lineman there too, Janarius Robinson, who I like as a 3rd or 4th round guy that is a pretty good player at Florida State. Unknown. I hate saying this, but we need a new running back. I'm tired of less than a 4-yard average. Running back doesn't matter. It's who's blocking for him. Get better blocking, you'll be fine. Zeke's good. He's not special, but he's good. Does that hurt anybody's heart when I say that Zeke's not special?
Yeah, there's always that faction of the fan base that will just, tear into it, right? You're not saying what I want you to say.
He's just not. Coming out of Ohio State, that dude could make people miss. He could hit you home runs, and he's just not that guy anymore. And it's weird. He's good. What he does is he minimizes losses. He doesn't take losses. He converts 3rd downs. He converts on the goal line. There's a lot of good to Zeke, but I don't think he's special. Kyle McKelvey, he says, guys, after the draft talk is all done, what is your ideal breakfast if you had all the time and ingredients you need? And he said, this is a question I asked to Jason Garrett at his press conference 5 years ago, just because his press conferences were so boring. And Kyle, the proper phrasing of that question is, what did you have for breakfast? And what do you wish you had for breakfast if you had the time and resources to create the ideal meal? And I think mine would be biscuits, but not big biscuits, like the little mini biscuits you can make, where I just make a bunch of miniature little egg, bacon, and cheese biscuits and just make 4 of them. That'd probably be my ideal breakfast, I think. Joe Rod?
I'm going steak and eggs with a big side of hash browns and some crispy bacon. I'm eating bad, man. I'm eating bad.
Neither one of us named a fruit or a veggie. What's up now? There we go. I'm out of supers. What else?
I got one here. Nathan Hendricks. Trade down to teens in one for another in the second and use up next year's second and possibly first. JOK, Radunes, Bolton, Grant, Wilson. Hello, Super Bowl.
Okay, JOK, Radunes, Bolton. I don't think you have to trade up as far as you think for these guys. JOK, you could probably get, we'll use New England at 15. Bolton and Grant at 44 and 46.
Yeah. Radunes should be there too, I would think. Do you think somebody falls in love with Radunes in the first?
Maybe you could use 75 and 99 to come back for Radunes and hope for a Wilson free fall. Like, I think you can get pretty close to that draft.
Yeah.
Without trading away next year's picks. I don't know. I don't know where Radunes is going to go.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you have to do trades for that. I think a lot of these guys might be there.
That's a nice little draft, though.
It sure would be. Hello, Super Bowl. Hopefully. I mean, that's what we've been waiting for a long time.
You put JOK at strong safety. You put Nick Bolton at will. Or what you do is you don't pick up Van Der Esch's fifth-year option, and a year from now you cut Jalen and you don't have Van Der Esch, and you're playing with JOK and Nick Bolton as your linebackers. Now we're running around.
Now we're cooking with grease. So I wonder, in that scenario, that's a good point, Jeff. So do you think they could come out of this with two linebackers? Do you think that's a double dip position in this draft possibly?
I think they could double dip at corner for sure. I think they could double dip. Yeah, they could double dip at linebacker. I don't think it would be like 2 day 1 or 2 picks, but maybe a second or third rounder and like a fifth rounder that's just kind of throwing something at the wall. Because I don't know if it'll happen, but if they're letting me run this team, a year from now, I need 2 new linebackers.
Yeah.
Because like Van Der Esch is hurt guy, and I can't pick up a $10 million option for hurt guy, and I want out of Jalen's deal. So a year from now, I would like to have 2 new linebackers.
Yeah, I think it's very possible, right? I mean, it's just, are these guys? Well, is LVE going to be healthy? First off, because I'm always afraid that when he gets hit or makes a big hit, is he going to get up?
Yeah, hurt guy's hurt guy. It's like his body is my body. Right now, my left shoulder hurts. I got a bad right knee. My left ankle's iffy. Me and him were the same guy. We weren't built for this life. We just weren't.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. You got any more supers, Jeff?
No supers. Nope. I'm out of there. I'm out of there.
I got 2 here. I got the Traveling Man Talk Show. Are y'all more worried about the Cowboys' offensive line injuries, Tyron and LC, or defensive interior giving up hella yards a game, which is important to address?
Well, I'm more worried about the lineman injuries only because if I don't have those guys, the season's over.
Yeah.
And does that mean that you use a first-round pick as insurance? No. But the good news about it, if you did, is the guy that you would pick could play guard. Like Penei Sewell could play guard. Rashawn Slater would be an incredible guard.
Right.
They could both do it, and you have insurance. So I like that pick. I'm worried about the defensive interior, but hopefully, and I know nobody wants to hear this about free agents that the Cowboys signed, but hopefully Brent Urban can help as a nose tackle. Hopefully Carlos Watkins, Tristan Hill, Neville Gallimore is good enough at 3, and Antoine Woods. I'd really like to add to it. I would. Yeah. But I'm more worried about the offensive line because that's the identity.
It
is. When Dak's protected, you're balling. When you can open holes, Zeke's balling. Yeah. And you're in good shape. Defensive interior, I know they got killed by people running the ball on them, but teams don't want to do that. They want to throw. They don't want to run the ball on you every down. And they need to fix it, but hopefully their jobber free agents can help.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely more worried about the offensive line. If you can't execute your game plan, you become one-dimensional, you know what I mean? Or very predictable, because you're having to get another tight end in here to help your tackle. You're having to, take certain plays out of your playbook. I have a feeling, and that's just isn't good football. You could be struggling to stay in games.
Hell yeah. Will Reese dropped a super chat with nothing in it, just a super chat.
No, that's awesome. That's Jeff baller status right there, man.
Let's go. We're balling. Anything else you want to talk about?
I think we're good. I do have a couple more super chats here we can get through. Donnell Jenkins, what's up, brother? What players are you most afraid of if they land in our division? For me, it's any good quarterback landing in Washington. That's a good question.
Donnell has the right answer. Like, my first thought was Kyle Pitts, but the right answer is any team in your division landing a guy that could potentially be their franchise quarterback. Like, the Giants and Eagles don't seem like they're interested because the Eagles traded back and the Giants seem like they like Daniel Jones, and I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Jalen Hurts is not going to be a problem for you, and Daniel Jones is not going to be a problem for you.
I agree.
Washington doesn't have their guy right now. So I would say, yeah, I agree with Donnell. If Washington found a way up for any for Trey Lance or Justin Fields, that would be not afraid, but that would be worst case scenario for the Cowboys. Because what you really want is you want to have Dak Prescott as your quarterback, and you want the Eagles to have Jalen Hurts, and you want the Giants to have Daniel Jones, and you want Washington to have Taylor Heineke. That's what you want in your division. So that's worst case.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Jeff. And I feel like they're really the team that poses the biggest threat to the Cowboys is Washington. They have a pretty stout defense. Those edge rushers competing with our tackles. It's a bit of a nightmare. I've always felt that they're a quarterback away from being the most improved team in the division. And that does kind of scare me a little bit.
Yeah, I think Washington would be a great team if they had a quarterback. And that's why I think that it's a coin flip right now, even with Ryan Fitzpatrick, because he's wild ass. But
oh yeah, that's right. He is over there. I forgot that he's over there.
Yeah, when he plays well and he can, that's going to be a dangerous team. Jordan Harper said, what would it take for the Bears to come up to 10? Can we get next one plus their 2 this year, maybe more? Well, that's quarterback tax. It's the beauty of the quarterback tax. Technically, it would probably take their, 20? It would take 20. It would take their 2, and it would take another pick. But yeah, I would hold them up for, I'll take 20. I'll take next year's 1 and either a 2 this year or 2 next year. That's quarterback tax, Jordan. That's how we do things around here.
Heck yeah. Tax that. Tax that.
Mm-hmm.
D-Town text G. Do you think we'll draft quarterback in a late round or just keep Gilbert as our backup QB?
This is a bad quarterback class after the first ones. You could, but I'm a big proponent of the Tom Moore quote on Peyton Manning back in the day, where they asked him about the backup quarterback getting snaps in practice, and Tom Moore said, if 18 goes down, we're effed. We don't practice effed. So Dak's my quarterback, and if I can find something on the cheap, if you like a late round guy, that's fine. I think it'll be probably Gilbert and DiNucci. Whatever.
I do. I think that's what they're going to go with too. I feel like if you want to get like a Kellen Mond or somebody like that, you might have to go 4th. And I don't want to use a 4th on a quarterback right now. You know what I mean? I think, that's. What do you think about that, Jeff?
There's other things we're trying to do. Other things we're trying to do with that 4. We're trying to find now. I mean, if you hit it on a quarterback, it's obviously way more important than any other position you could hit on. But I got my quarterback. I'm going to ride.
Yeah. Going to ride all the way. Unknown's got one. Any second round O lineman that can walk in and start at right guard.
Zach Martin's at right guard. So no, but if you're saying left guard, like where Connor Williams is, my second round guards are Alex Leatherwood, who's left tackle at Bama, but a lot of people think he's a guard, and Wyatt Davis at Ohio State.
There you go. Wyatt Davis would be my guy.
Yeah. And I don't know that he would walk in and beat out Connor Williams. Connor was okay. He was okay last year.
I think they like him. You know what I mean? And I feel that, and even behind him, I feel like maybe they even feel good about McGovern sliding in there.
I like McGovern.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only need to draft guys that have tackle potential too, because that's who I'm worried about. McGovern and Williams battling for left guard and Martin at right guard. I'm fine. I just need to make sure my tackles don't go down.
Yeah. Jason Strickland, what are the chances Jerry is in love with Pitts is a smokescreen for a true target? Chances it's true?
Well, first, I do think Jerry's in love with Pitts because everyone's in love with Pitts. If you're not in love with Pitts, something's wrong with you.
That's right.
But I like that because that's my dream theory is that Jerry's just having a ton of fun. Like, we might trade up to 4 to get somebody else to trade up to 4 to pick a quarterback to drive non-quarterbacks down to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Or get somebody to go get Pitts, which would be fine. If he makes it to you, it's a sweet jackpot bonus, but you're not planning on it anyway. I like the idea that whether it's a smoke screen or not, that it's at least a bluff to be like, hey, we might go get him to get somebody else to do it.
I think that's what it is. I think it's, like you said, everybody is infatuated with him. So that's like a default. But then the business part of Jerry Jones, that type of thing, I think it's gamesmanship as well.
Yeah. My guy Formula is going hard in the super chat tonight. He says McNeil or Levi O, Milton or Shelvin, expand, please. All right. So Alim McNeil, the NC State nose tackle, Levi Onwuzurike, the 3 technique out of Washington. That's hard because McNeil has good tape from this year as a nose tackle, and Levi was an opt-out. But Levi is a pass rushing D tackle.
Yeah.
And there's so much value in pass rush. So I have them both in the second round. I think I technically have McNeil graded higher, but pass rush is so valuable that I might be lying to myself with my grading right now. Which guy would you rather have, McNeil or Onwuzurike?
I'd rather go with Alim McNeil myself, but I wouldn't be mad at Levi either. I mean, you can't go wrong with either. So I want that tackle for loss guy. You know what I mean? I feel like Levi has a little bit more of that, but I mean, Alim McNeil gets in there as well. So,
and the next question is the same thing where it's Milton Williams or Tyler Shelvin. Milton Williams is La Tech. He's 280 pounds, but he's a freak athlete. So he was playing kind of end there on a 3-man line. I'd play him at D tackle and just tell him to penetrate. And so I'd take him over Tyler Shelvin. Tyler Shelvin's just a mountain. He's 340 pounds if I'm not moving, but he's going to have 0 sacks for his career. So I'll take the rusher.
Yeah, I'll take Milton as well. How high do you think Milton might actually go, Jeff?
Second round.
Second.
Yeah. I think he'll go in the second. I actually was watching his tape tonight. I just think the traits will get him taken in the second. And I don't think he's a polished or a great player right now, but I think that athleticism and that frame, that body, I think that's a second round D tackle.
Oh yeah.
In this class anyway, again, bad class. Antrell Edwards said, what do the Cowboys do if Pitts, the top 2 offensive linemen are gone, and Surtain and Horn are gone? Do we still draft best available or trade back? Chase or Waddle? I think they trade back.
I do too. I'm trading back.
Because if all those guys are gone, quarterbacks are on the board.
Yeah.
And if quarterbacks are on the board, I think you move back. Although if you give me Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle, don't get me wrong, I ain't complaining. I'll figure it out from there, whether I'm going 4 wide and really going just fast forward offense or whether you're going to try to move Gallup after that. I got no problem with either one of those guys, but I bet the Cowboys would look at that and trade back. That's my guess.
I think so too. I wouldn't be mad at Chase, because then you have somebody to take over, once Gallup's gone. I don't think they're going to be able to afford him, right?
Yeah. To me, there's nothing wrong with reloading at receiver all the time with high picks. Now, not always first rounders, not always top 10, but Gallup was a 3. Then here comes CD. Gallup's on the way out. Here comes my next guy. Like, I love it.
You know what I say, Jeff? I say that, McCarthy, when he was Green Bay, kind of had that pattern, right? So one of these guys would go off for free agency, had somebody ready to go. And I feel that could be a low-key selection. That might be something the Cowboys fans are not ready for. Like, what the hell? A wide receiver in the 3rd? They might be like, what the hell are we doing, But yeah. I could see that happening.
And Michael said, give me a mock. Oh, sorry. You go.
Okay. Isaiah Menchaca. Pitts would be fantastic, but I'd love to see Horn as our first rounder. He's a dog and is the biggest competitor in this draft. Grant or Merrick in the second. Deontay Brown in the third. Fourth, Anderson, UCF.
Anderson at UCF. Is that their receiver, the 6'5" guy? It might be. I think they got like a 6'5" receiver that runs a 4.4 that some teams want to see him try tight end. Let's see. So Horn, I'm good. Grant or Merrick, I'm good. Deontay Brown, third round's where I got him graded. I would rather take a tackle than a guard.
Yeah, I do too. I think we have good enough guards in here. I feel like, tackle, I think, is where it's at.
And tackle, you don't have the numbers. I mean, technically you do, I guess, if you're counting Brandon Knight and Terrence Steele, but I want better than that.
I do, yeah, right. I want to get better I want to get better than Terrence Steele. That was a shocker to me, Jeff. Whenever we're doing all these roster predictions, I think a lot of us had him as a practice squad guy. And he made the team full blown. He made the team. So,
well, I think that's what happens in the league is you have guys that become the coaching staff's guys, and I think for whatever reason they must have liked his demeanor or what he brought to practice or whatever. I think that Steele became either the offensive line coach or McCarthy became his guy. And he got better as the year went along. Early, it was awful.
Oh, my God. It was
he got better.
Greenish.
Michael said, give me a mock of moves and picks that would improve the team the most overall. Well, that's just too big of a question. Like, all 10 picks and trades and free agency. I mean, I think they need to add they're short a corner. They're going to draft a corner high. That's going to happen. I think they're short a free safety to compete with Kazee. Outside of that, I think you can pick the best available players you can find amongst linebacker, D tackle, edge. I could pick a receiver, offensive tackle. There's a lot of ways they could go. Their free agency wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't splashy, but they're ready to draft. The only thing they're not ready to go play on a Sunday at is corner, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's the biggest glaring need right now.
Yeah. All right, any more supers? We went over an hour.
Yeah, I think we're good, Jeff, man. I think we're good there with this draft talk extravaganza, baby.
Yeah. All right. For people who are watching my channel, plug your YouTube channel, tell them how to find you and how to subscribe and all that.
Yeah, guys, shout out to everybody in the chat box. First off, thank you guys for checking out the draft talk. Jeff, thank you so much for doing this with me as well. Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate that. But yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube. Just look up Cowboys Blog, hit me up, give me a follow on Twitter, CowboysBlogNet, and I'll give you a follow back.
All right. And if you're watching on Joe Rod's channel, just Jeff Cavanaugh on YouTube. That's just it's me. I'm a person.
Yeah.
And my official sign off is for hold on, make sure there's no super chats I'm missing at the end. Okay, good. You have no idea what anybody's going through, so be cool to everybody, and I love you. That's how I sign off.
Well said.
It's my thing.
All right, guys, we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.